All right, folks, good morning. All right, let's get started. All right, firstly, economic data for today. We've got the NFIB Small Business Index and the 10-year bond auction. The NFIB Small Business Index already came out. It's not an important report, and 10-year bond auction will be at 1:01 p.m. Eastern. Not expected to have a major impact. So not much going on today as far as news, just like yesterday. All right, so that leaves the market fairly wide open. Let's look at what the market's doing so far before the opening bell. Looking at the NASDAQ, the QQQ ETF, we can see that we're slightly lower than the red line, which was yesterday's close, currently trading at 376.16. Um, Now, as far as what was going on yesterday, the NASDAQ was slightly, very, very slightly bullish. But as you can see, it traded in both directions, sharply down and sharply up. So that being said, let's take a look at which stocks were moving yesterday. We had quite a few. All right, so Datadog was able to reach target number 2 of 100.21, topping out at 102. So it went about twice the distance as the target number 2. SoFi was only able to reach target number 1 of $8.84 before topping out at $8.92. Clearly not very good action on the stock, very choppy. Next up, we have TSLL, which is basically Tesla. It's a 1.5 times leveraged Tesla ETF. So basically, this was able to get close to its target number 2 of 1805, but it never reached it. And Tesla, the actual item, was able to reach close to its target number 2 as well, topping out at 274.85, but that fell about $1 short of target number 2. However, Tesla did have generally a good trend after the open, at least. Much better trend was Amazon, which started the day off strong and was able to easily get past his target number 2 of 140.78, topping out at 143.62. So this went over double the distance of his target number 2. So Amazon was a overwhelming winner. Next up, we have Gilead, which was able to reach target number 2 eventually. Got to that at about 20 minutes before the close, topping out, reaching 77.17, which was about 6 cents above target number 2. CGC, Canopy Growth, which was identified pre-market yesterday, that was able to surpass target number 2 of $1.26 before topping out at just under $1.80 per share. So that was able to go over double the distance to its T2 as well. So another strong mover. Meta was able to reach target number 2 eventually, but you can see the action was not very predictable. Its move to target number 1 was straightforward to 304.52. We saw that early, but after that, the stock refused to make a move to target number 2 until after dropping back to the opening price. Then eventually it went on a run up to T2, which was 307.63. But again, not good price action here, so not an ideal stock to trade, but nevertheless it did move early in the session. Affirm also moved early in the session, but it fell short of target number 1 at first. After a pullback, it then got back to target number 1 of 23.64, but it got only halfway to target number 2. Again, not very good price action there. Airbnb, similar to Meta, was able to reach his target number 1 very quickly at the open. We also were able to spot that one in the process of getting to target number 1, which was 147.80. It topped out about 1/3 of the way to target number 2, and then that was it. All right. Next up, we have T-Mobile, TMUS, which was able to reach target number 2 of 140.09. And after reaching that, at first it looked like it was done, but then it turned around and went back up to exceed its target number 2 um, by almost double as well. Went to 141.26 on the high. So very strong move on T-Mobile. Next up, we have Coinbase, which was bearish, and it was able to reach down to target number 2 of 78.21 to the downside, target number 2 to the downside before bottoming out. Either way, a good move. AMD was much more bearish, dropped like a rock right from the opening bell. It passed target number 2 to the downside of 104.14. We did discover there was a large amount of support around 103 for AMD as far as buyers that were waiting, and that was able to stop the downtrend. Next up, we've got Qualcomm, which was able to go down to target number 2 to the downside of 109.09, and then it was able to turn back around. Next up, we have Nvidia, which was able to reach target number 2 to the downside of 446.90. Also another good move down. CRNX was able to move up through target number 1 of 27.95 and go about halfway to target number 2, topping out at 29.45 before losing momentum for the day. Roku also was able to reach target number 2. It did go up, kind of bumpy ride, but it did get up there to 87.04 for topping out. And basically, last one is Riot Blockchain, which was able to sell off down to target number 1 to the downside of 106.36. It then got about 40% of the way down to target number 2. Later in the day, it got over halfway to its target number 2 to the downside. But other than that, pretty decent move at the beginning of the day, but then that was it. Okay, so those were the bigger movers, at least the more consistent movers as well. Let's take a look at what's happening pre-market today. And it looks like my list is fairly short, so let's jump right into it. First stock I see is Lyra, Lyra, that presently is up 16.8%, 2.6 million shares traded, about $5 a share. So that does qualify for our pre-market list. So we'll go ahead and add that to our pre-market radar. Remember, the pre-market radar is only looking for stocks that can move at the opening bell. This is not focused on options trading. However, some of these stocks might be optionable, but Lyra has options, but probably they won't be worth trading as they're probably very illiquid. Next up, we have NCNC. This stock does not have options for sure, and it's only up 4.88%. So it was up over 6% for a moment, but it's not right now. So we'll add this to a possibilities list, something we'll look at before the opening bell to see if the stock is at the requirements that we need. So as of this moment, it's at 5.69% up, but could go up even more in a second. We'll see. I'll leave it on the possibilities list. All right, so as I said, my list is fairly short right now. So if you folks see any other stocks that are NASDAQ listed stocks, that's the first thing. It has to be a NASDAQ listed stock. It has to be trading at least $1 per share. Thank you, Terry. And must be at least 1 million shares of pre-market volume. So when we look up at our display, we should see that it's traded over 1 million shares currently in today's session, today's pre-market session. And we need the stock to be trading above 6%, a gain of 6% or greater, or a loss of 6% or worse. So AST, let's just look at ASTI first. All right, so this is currently up 30%, roughly 1 million shares. Let's see, what's the news here? So that kind of looks like a merger, but let's find out. Um, okay, no, that wasn't it. But they do plan a 1 for 200. Is that it? Oh, they already did it. So this was a reverse split. That's the reason why it's up. So it's not actually up 20. Well, it is actually up 28%. I guess the platform's already corrected for that. So it is up 28%, even though the price has been reverse split. So they did a 1 for 200 reverse split. I think that's the biggest reverse split I've ever heard of. So they, basically, for every 200 shares of stock, you got one share with the equivalent price of the combined total of shares that you traded in. Um, so it is actually up 29%. If we counted the change in price from yesterday's quote to today, it will be up more than 29%. So that's real, and it's 1 million shares. So that does qualify. We'll add that to our radar. Uh, ASTI. All right, next up, I see. Actually, hold on for a second. I lost the. Okay, CGC. We'll take a look at that. CGC does qualify. It's down 8.28% on 11 million shares, trading at $1 per share. So that qualifies for sure. All right, we already have ASTI. COSM is trading up. Let's see. Yep. Haven't heard that name in a while. Uh, I mean, Cosm can move can make some pretty big moves. So this one, 37% up, 2.3 million shares. Yeah, that one I'll definitely take a look at. We've had in the past some pretty major moves in this stock that we were able to catch. So COSM definitely on the radar. All right, so SLE is close. Let's find out. Yep, it's close. We'll have to put that on our possibilities list. The volume is not quite where we need it to be yet. But other than that, it has the right percent change range. It has the right price per share. It is a NASDAQ stock, so we'll add that to our possibilities list as well, SLE. Okay, there's a good chance it'll be qualified shortly, but I'll put it down as a possibility for now. All right, so far we've got LYRA, ASTI, CGC, and COSM as our stocks that we'll be watching at the market open. We also have NCNC and SLE as possibilities. They have not yet reached the full criteria that we need, but we'll keep an eye on them. All right. Other than that, folks, any other stocks that you folks see that meet our criteria? We need at least $1 per share. I don't know if CGC has earnings today. I haven't checked. We need the stocks to be at least $1 per share, NASDAQ listed, at least 1 million shares pre-market volume, and at least a 6% change in price. Any stocks that meet those four criteria, other than the ones we've already mentioned, please go ahead and let me know in the chat. We'll go ahead and take a look at it. All right, so we'll wrap up for today. All right, and please be sure to like this video. I see 12 likes so far. Please make sure you like this video if you're watching. Very important for the YouTube algorithm. Also, be sure that you're subscribed to the channel so that way any updates that we send out, you'll get updated about that as soon as the videos are published. For those of you who may not be familiar with our company, but maybe you're watching this video on a replay, please be sure to check out fundertrading.com, our website. You'll see a link to that in the description to this video. Other than that, for those of you who are part of the coaching program, I'll see you in there in about 25 minutes, and then we'll pick up from there. All right. All right, folks, have a great trading session, and I'll see you for tomorrow's Premarket Pulse. Take care.